hasn't started. It did the countdown.
And do you have to hit go live? Last time there was about a 10-second delay between you and me. Well, let's get started here, Lyle. So, hey, folks, Jay Cummings here with People's Trust Company podcast series. And this is our third podcast that we're bringing you. And the topics vary from on Thursdays. We do business topics, and then we decided to add some internal, very bank-specific topics on Tuesday. And when we got together in the marketing department and asked everybody what they thought would be the most important thing to do for our first podcast on Tuesday, everybody came back and said security, bank security, fraud within the money system, how to keep yourself safe online. And that was unanimously approved. Everybody wants to hear more and more about that because it's on the rise and things are getting more technical and they're getting more sophisticated, and the criminals are spending much more time in that realm trying to relieve people of their cash, not by their knowing and willingness. So having decided that, we thought the best person at the bank to come and speak about this would be the security officer, and Lyle Poyer is our chief of security here at the bank. So I thought nobody better to bring on to stage Mr. Poyer to come and tell us a little bit about his department. So Lyle, instead of me doing your introduction for you, why don't you tell us just briefly a little how long you've been with the bank and just some quick overviews of what the security department is all about at People's Trust Company.
Thanks, Jay. Good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you having me here today. I think the unanimous decision wasn't run by me, but it is what it is, so which is all fine and dandy. But yes, I'm Lyle Poyer. I'm security officer here with People's Trust Company. I've been with the bank for about 28 years now, working in the security department approximately 26 years, actually. Basically, my job entails overseeing the physical security of the bank, also entails doing the fraudulent investigations, if you will. We have a team here that it's not just I, me, my by any means. We have a team, a department, call center, deposit operations that assist with this as well, help us out. We work together as a group, and it works very well, actually. So I definitely enjoy the job. There's never a dull moment, if you will. Fraud is here to stay, unfortunately, and it's not going to go anyplace. So it's just going to continue to get worse. So as you mentioned, Jay, the fraudsters, they're working at this every day and everything, and they are just staying ahead of us, if you will. So our job basically is to do what we can and try and combat this fraud that's going on.
So, Lyle, you bring up a really good point that it's not just you as part of the security of the bank. And I, when I first came here, I thought I was a pretty smart guy running a business and I could do my tax returns and payrolls and all the quarterly filings and all of that stuff. And then when I came to the bank, I had no idea how complex and sophisticated the banking system was. And I'm just going to speak quickly to the power and the horsepower that we have here at the bank of the deposit operations. And, the crew upstairs and the decades of experience that they have in that space of safety and security. And it's very humbling, I'll say, when I first came here, to how complex banking is, how sophisticated it is, and what that level of experience upstairs has got to be over 100 years of combined experience just in DO, deposit operations. And I've seen it in action where it's done its job and done it extremely well. So a lot of customers are pretty lucky that they've got that team of people upstairs. So let's dive right into the meat of the matter here, Lyle. So with fraudsters trying to gain access to people's money, and they do it by phone calls and they do it by emails and text, every format they can, any level of communication that they can get into somebody's into their computer, into their mind, get them to do things. If you and you probably see a fair amount of the fraudulent activity or people that have fallen victim to fraudulent scams, what would you say above everything else, if there was one thing even the basic person could do that would really give them a leg up on any fraudulent activity, what would you recommend to them as a starting point?
Well, Jay, good question right there. There's so many levels of fraud out there, unfortunately, but in my opinion, the best thing is to be careful as far as giving your personal private information out, if you will. They actually refer to it as personal identifiable information, PII. What people don't realize is when they get on the phone with somebody and they start asking questions, if you will, they start asking for some of that information, date of birth, maybe your social security number. We are very adamant in letting our customers know, or trying to let them know, make them aware that be very careful when you're doing that. Know who you're talking to. That's a big thing. That's a lot that we're seeing out there with the types of fraud. But that would be the biggest thing right there. It's just be careful. Know who you're talking to on the phone, or if it's on a computer. If you have a pop-up that comes up onto your computer and it says call this number, I would be very hesitant to do that. With all the scams out there, let's face it, everything's tied to a scam today. Basically, anything from computer scam, Microsoft, everything right down the line. So that's where, that's the big thing right there. Another thing we're seeing here is counterfeit checks lately. We're seeing a great deal of that, if you will. These checks, basically the people using checks today has gone down. The number has gone down. But unfortunately, in this industry, the easiest way to commit fraud is to use or get counterfeit checks. And what we are seeing in the industry, and it's been going on for years now, but it's now up here in the Northeast, is mail fraud. When people actually send out a check for payment. We were seeing it first, if you will, for business customers, but now we're seeing it right across the board, Jay. Make sense?
Interesting. Yeah. I have seen or heard about, I haven't seen it personally, but I've heard of a few customers falling victim to that. So if that was the case, whether you're a business or whether you're a consumer with just a household or personal checking account, is there something they should do every day to keep track of that? And how would they go about, protecting themselves? Is there something simple that somebody could do every morning to protect themselves from, if somebody had written a check, snagged one of my checks, washed it, put a different name and different amount on it, and
Sure.
I wouldn't know until my statement came. What else can I do to protect myself?
Well, the first things first is we, as account holders, that includes you and I, Jay, we have accounts at different banks and what have you. We are the first line of defense, right? It's our responsibility to keep an eye on our accounts to make sure everything is accurate. What's highly recommended is that you review your accounts on a daily basis. It's definitely worthwhile to log on in the morning, check your accounts. You can use online banking. You can use the mobile app as well. Look at all the transactions that go through. Make sure everything is accurate. I know this can be very challenging for the business customers because these folks actually pay a lot of bills via check or electronically. But the best thing to do is to look at your accounts on a daily basis. And with that being said, it's not only once during the day. You really should look at 2 or 3 times if you can. Transactions are constantly posting to the account throughout the day. And it's really important that we enforce to our customers that you are that first line of defense. And if you can keep an eye on that and you see something that doesn't look right, you get in touch with us as soon as possible.
So your recommendation is with your morning coffee and reading the newspaper or the online newspaper is to just log into your online banking and look at what came in overnight and what was presented. Because it's my understanding that if I call the bank on a presentment It hasn't even cleared my account yet. It's much easier to stop and undo versus something that happened a week ago. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. So that's the other part being is the sooner that you notify us, the better. There's usually about a 24-hour window, if you will, that we can return a check if need be, or an electronic posting to your account. But you got to let us know. That's the key right there. We can all make all the excuses in the world that we don't have time. We're busy. We all have, if you will, we all have these. We all have cell phones. We're on these phones through the day. We're all guilty of it. It really doesn't hurt to get on and check out your account and make sure everything is okay. So
I've actually, and that's a great point. I try to make a practice of doing it every morning when I wake up and check on the updates on my computer of what happened
sure.
while I was sleeping, and I've really got it down to I can log into my online banking, and I don't have a lot of transactions as a simple consumer. You know, 3 overnight is a big one. It's usually 1 every couple days. Um, but I can do that. I've got that down to about 15 seconds on my smartphone to be able to do that. And you know, it's funny. The first time I did that maybe 2 years ago, I saw a $20 charge on there from some subscription that used to be free. They changed the terms and never told anybody about it. It was a national company of money exchange, something like that. And so I got right on there and took care of that. So now let's say, Lyle, it's 8:15. I'm reading my newspaper. I'm finishing my coffee. I see something on there that I don't recognize, and you say call the bank. Well, who do I call and what do I say when I call? I don't even know what phone number maybe to call. Who would I? Who
Well,
would I call?
you are going to get in touch with our call center. Number is 802-524-2196. It's been our number for many, many years. People do know other people and what have you if you're unable to get through or what have you, but our call center is pretty sharp. We've got a good crew there. Basically call into them, give them the details as to what's going on with your account, whether it's electronic or whether it's a check. Another part of that, Jay, as far as examining the accounts is examine these checks that you have. I know a lot of people aren't writing as many checks out there, but if you examine these checks very carefully, that's where the fraud happens. A lot of people end up getting their checks washed, if you will. Counterfeit checks are made. These counterfeiters are very sharp. They have printers, they have checks in their vehicle, they are mobile, they go around, and they steal the mail, basically. They recreate the checks. If you happen to see that in your account, you see a check that's there, even if you're a check writer, look at it. Look at the signature. Make sure your signature is authentic, that it's your handwriting. A lot of times that we see in these fraudulent checks, we see, the pay to the order of is in one type of handwriting, and actually the numerical account as well. And we look down at the signature and it's totally different. We can look at that on our end as well. Our call center can look that up right away, go into your account, bring up the check image, look at that, and let you know that, whether you're saying this is real or not real. And we can look into it a little bit further with our deposit operations.
Oh, that's interesting. So back to the who I call and what do I say? So,
Mhm.
what are the hours of the call center? And I'm just going to call up, and whoever answers the phone, I'm going to identify myself, and they're going to ask me a few questions to verify that I'm who I say I am, and then they're going to look up my account, and then I'll tell them, hey, that charge from XYZ company for 1999, I didn't authorize that. It's still in presentments. What happens during that situation?
At that point in time, so the hours of operation, Jay, 8 in the morning till 4:30 in the evening. They will take the information. They will pass that on to our deposit operations department, who will look into this as well. And then they can easily stop this payment. They can take that right out of the system, especially if it's in presentments. You mentioned earlier, Jay, about it already being posted. So if we go beyond that 24-hour mark, things get a little challenging on our end. When we get a fraudulent check, if it's an altered check or counterfeit check, basically the sooner the better, like was mentioned earlier. But we usually go back to the bank of first deposit. So let's just say, for example, your check is compromised, it's altered, and it's cashed at a bank down in South Carolina. We basically have that window, 24-hour window, that we can return this check. Depending on the type of fraud, if it's counterfeit, it's a little bit different, but if it's an altered check, we can usually send that back and get the funds back from the bank, what we call bank of first deposit. So the fraudster basically took your check, made it, altered the check, and they were able to cash it at a bank, their bank. That would be what we call the bank of first deposit. Make sense?
Yep. Yep. So that's kind of interesting. So a couple things, and my heart goes out to all of the tellers that work in the banking community, because when there's a couple people in the lobby and everybody's in a hurry and they want to do their deposit and get in and get out, and they're like, hey, come on, how long can this take?
Sure.
The tellers really have 100 different things that they're looking at on every single transaction to make sure somebody's not trying to slip something by them, on purpose or by accident, even for that matter. So they've got a real tough job in a short amount of time to evaluate 100 different things real quickly, and still give the customer service to get people in and get them out and make them happy with the transaction. But I want to go back to, the check washing. Is there a certain type of pen I should buy? Does it make it more difficult to wash, or is it just a ballpoint pen?
Well, it's kind of recommended. They do say out there a gel pen, blue ink, because a lot of people, they do use black ink. That ink is easily photocopied, if you will, whereas the blue ink it's more authentic. Gel pens are a great thing as well, definitely to use. So something to keep in mind.
So
Definitely.
a gel pen is definitely going to give you just a hint more of protection.
It will, sure.
And I guess the strategy here is it's kind of like people breaking into houses. If the criminal goes to my house and they see I've got cameras and a burglar alarm system, they might go to the next house that doesn't. So if they grab a check of mine and they see it's written in a gel pen, they might say, it's not worth getting caught. I'll look for somebody else's check that's easier to wash.
Sure, absolutely. And what they're doing, Jay, another thing that's out there is basically when they're stealing these pieces of mail from either the blue boxes at the post office, which is the blue box outside of the post office, if you will, or they'll steal them right from the our own post office box at our house, if you will. So it's very challenging as far as that goes. With the blue boxes, what they're doing, Jay, is they're taking a long piece of wire and they're able to put the sticky substance at the end of the wire. They open the top and they're fishing. They go down in there, and they're getting the mail out. And that's, it was really starting with the business customers. What's happened with our business customers, had several, if you will, and now we're getting consumers, but they get a 30-day late notice from a vendor that they paid. And that's very challenging. So they look at that and say, hey, I already paid this. What's the problem here? So then as we start looking at it a little bit further, then they realize that, there's a charge on my account, but it's not the same charge that was there before for the original check. So they recreated the check, put a different amount on there and a different pay to the order of, and they process that check. Sometimes we've had our customers, unfortunately, catch that late. It's been as well. It's usually a late notice is 30 days, correct?
Sure.
30 days. So that's 30 days later, and it becomes really challenging at that point. So we've been very fortunate lately. We have had recently had a customer that paid a bill to a local vendor for services rendered at their place or their facility, excuse me, and they got the 30-day late notice. And it turned out being the original check was, I believe it was around $130, roughly in that ballpark. The check was recreated for $5,000.
Ouch.
And it was basically cashed down, and it was different pay to the order of, and it was cashed down in South Carolina. So the other thing they did was that they changed the amount. It went from 130 roughly to $5,000. So that's a big chunk of change for our commercial customer. So we were very fortunate. Deposit Ops was able to send that back to the Bank of First Deposit, and we're able to get the funds back. So there's some war stories out there, if you will.
Well, bullet dodge for that customer.
for
So
sure.
what you're saying is if I'm at my house and I don't have time to go to the post office and I put mail out in my mailbox with the red flag up, if at all possible, don't leave a check in that. It's okay to send my letter to my grandmother asking for her bread recipe, but if I'm going to leave a check in that, better drive into the actual post office and get it in secure hands first.
Exactly. Go into the post office, use the drop box on the inside. I just highly recommend it. It's sad when we got to go to this, it's challenging, but the post office is doing their best. They're trying to, combat this problem as well.
Yeah.
It just continues to go on.
So I know only got about 4.5, 5 minutes left, and we got a dozen people that are on watching, whether they're on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. I can't tell from this screen, but if anybody has any questions that's specific to their situation at home, at work, whatever it is, now's your time to ask Lyle a customized question for an answer if you want. So Lyle, does it sounds to me like there's a bit more security if I can get more of my banking online and avoid the checks. One thing the check does is paper
Sure.
check goes through the mail. I tell people what my name is, what my phone number is, my address, what
Yep.
bank I bank at. My bank account number is written on the bottom of that check.
Sure.
What are your thoughts between paper check and online or digital banking?
Digital banking is definitely it's safer. You can pay via ACH as well. These paper checks, they're just easy to recreate. If you go ACH or you do mobile banking or online banking, we've got bill pay as well. Um, uh, we have business banking as well that can be used. It's a lot safer than the checks. It's just challenging, unfortunately. So
Yep. Yep. Good. Good. So we've got bill pay, we've got Zelle.
mhm.
How do those compare with Venmo? Somebody told me that Venmo wasn't FDIC insured, and if you had a breach there, you're pretty much on your own. But we've got many different methods within house that um, you can digitally send, electronically send somebody money very safely from your online banking to perhaps their online banking, right?
Sure, you sure can. Absolutely. Venmo seems to be very popular out there. We've got Zelle in house here at the bank, and that works very well compared to the checks. But it's just definitely something, that can be challenging as well. Some people are not comfortable with the electronic world either. They like the check, they like the cash, that type of thing. But when you got to pay something, unfortunately, it gets a bit challenging. But the best part is, through ACH, through Zelle, these are safe methods. They really are.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I hopped on Zelle last month for a person that mows my lawn. I didn't want to have to every week get out and write a check. I don't write hardly any checks anymore. I'm not even sure where my checkbook is. I think it's at home in my dresser drawer, and it has 4 checks left in it from the last 5 years. But and that was the first time. Within 30 seconds, I had that set up, and what the agreement was is I just have it pay them on the first of the month, and then I can put the dollar amount, who it goes to. It starts a certain point, ends at the end of the summer. I pay them once a month until I think I said October 1st, and then I didn't have to worry about it. I was never late, and that was a very nice way to send money without having to worry about it, without having to think about it. And as I remember, I think Zelle is FDIC insured.
Yes. Yes. And actually, it's so fast. It happens quickly. My daughter does the same thing. She'll pay me, I'll pay her. It's not a cash thing. Once in a while, it's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's quite convenient, if you will. So it works out quite nice.
Is a nice way to do business. Hey, there was I think you had ordered a booklet of a bunch of safety fraudulent
I did
protocol stuff that
as
you
a
were going
matter
to
of,
share with us. We only got about a half a minute left, but
yep.
we can go over a couple minutes. Tell us about that book, Lyle, and what's in it.
So it's a
And where
booklet
can I go get one?
Basically, its identity theft booklet has the various types of fraud in there and what have you. We branded it, put our brand down at the bottom there. It's just different types of fraud that are out there. The cyber, the basically guarding your cards, your checks, how to protect your identity as well. Beware of the traditional tactics. Just various things throughout the bank. Different scams. Scams is another one that we'll talk about in the future, Jay. That'll be that you could talk for hours about with the different scams that are out there. So you can get these at our drive up, basically any of our branches, and inside the at the teller lines as well. So quick information in there, nothing detailed by any means, but just gives you a snapshot of the different types of fraud that are going on out there.
Yeah, that thing's got like 37 pages on it.
I do believe you are right. Yes, sir.
And I was just opening up the inside cover here, and helpful websites. They've got the Better Business Bureau, the FTC, the IRS, Internet Crime Complaint Center, National Cybersecurity Alliance, and U.S. Department of Homeland Security. So, plus us.
It's kind of a one-stop shop there. Actually, it just in a nutshell, it just kind of gives you an overview of everything going on out there. So
Yeah.
definitely helpful for
Yeah,
everybody.
there's
But
a
it's
lot
just
of-
trying to get this word out, Jay, to everybody. You know, protecting your account. Can't stress enough. You know, view your accounts online. You are the first line of defense. You really need to do that. We are responsible for our own accounts, and that is helpful in the end.
That is a good suggestion. I'm gonna try to make a challenge for myself for the next 30 days until we talk again a month from today. I'm gonna see if I can go on every single day for 30 consecutive days. I've been pretty good, but I haven't been perfect. So I'm gonna see if I can train myself to do that.
There you go. And don't be afraid to get on there multiple times.
Yeah, I have done it at work, just popped on in the afternoon real quick. Not as many times as the morning, but so that's good advice. I'm going to try to do it twice a day will be the challenge now.
Attaboy.
So once in the morning, once at night. I know we still have 6, 7, 8 people online. If anybody wants to ask Lyle one quick question before we go, you can just type it in the chat. If you're watching on Facebook, you can type a comment on the Facebook, the event that you're watching through. It goes right to us. If you're on LinkedIn, the same exact thing. It pops right to us. And you can ask Lyle a very specific question, or if you're watching this recorded, you could certainly email Lyle at first initial last name at ptcvt.com. And he is a wealth of information. And we kind of nicknamed this, that Lyle's show is Lyle on the Line, because he is the first line of defense here at the bank as the security officer. And he might see it all before it gets popular on Facebook and well known. So if you have something happen to you once, call him up, send him an email and say, have you seen this before? Chances are he has, and it's just the first time that the people in your network have experienced it. So it hasn't become mainstream just yet. So you got to catch every single one of those. And I'll close out with anybody that has a business and you want to start up or grow up. On Thursday, I've got 2 fantastic business consultants on the program. One of them is an IT software specialist consultant, and the other one is a what they call a fractional CFO. And these ladies are the real deal. They are solid. I've seen their resume of all the big companies that they worked for when they were working before they went on their own, and they've got it locked down. So you have some tremendous resources at your fingertips, and that's going to be Thursday, June 5th, is it? And so we're going to be the same time, noon. The beautiful thing about this is you don't have to sign up or register or anything like that. You just show up on our Facebook event and start watching. Show up. So you go to Facebook, People's Trust Company's Facebook page, and look under events. Or if you're on LinkedIn, if you're not a Facebooker, you can go on LinkedIn, look on our People's Trust Company page, and then click on events, and it'll show you all the events coming up. We've got 5 scheduled this month, including today's session. So plenty of education information that we want to get into the hands of the people just to simply make your lives better. Hopefully circumvent a little bit of frustrations in your day. And then if your business, help you grow, make some money, and keep more of your own money. So before we let you go, Lyle, this is, do you have any closing comments or suggestions for us?
No, just to clarify, our telephone number here at People's Trust, 802-524-2196. Give us a call. You have an issue, a question, a problem, whatever it may be. Our call center will pick up and they'll get you to the right individual depending on what it is. But no, appreciate your time, Jay, very much. Even though I wasn't part of that committee to vote me in, but it wasn't so bad. I appreciate it very much. And thanks for your guidance on everything.
All right. I appreciate you taking the time, Lyle. And we will close this out with, if anybody has a topic that Lyle didn't touch today and you're watching this recorded later on, shoot us a note. We'll just embed it in the next session because we are, the one thing I've learned at the bank, I think I've been here 12 years this summer, was we're here to help. And there's a lot of talent here, a lot of experience, a lot of smart people that work here, and they're all willing to help prevent people from falling victim to fraud and improving your business. So that's the community bank life, right? Helping your community.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jay.
All right. One call does it all. Thanks, Lyle. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.